She left him for her ex. He thought their story was forever, but one day everything changed. He didn't wait around and made a shocking move that left everyone talking. Hello, Reddit. I never thought I'd be here writing about this, but after everything that's happened, I feel like I have to share it. Maybe someone out there will understand. Maybe someone will tell me that I'm not crazy for making the decisions I've made. But either way, here we are. I'm 27. I was supposed to marry the love of my life, Tessa. I thought we had everything, 4 years together, solid plans, a house we both loved. I thought we were building a future together. But I've learned the hard way that sometimes, the future you envision is just a fantasy. And sometimes, people change in ways you never see coming. Tessa and I met at a birthday party through a mutual friend. She was confident, funny, with a no-nonsense approach that I admired. We hit it off immediately. I dated before, but I'd never connected with someone the way I did with her. A year later, we moved in together, and things just felt natural. Life wasn't perfect, but it was good. We had the same kind of schedules, me, working as a project manager for a tech company, and her, freelancing as a graphic designer. We made it work, we communicated, and we were happy. Marriage came up a lot, but we didn't rush it. But after a while, I couldn't imagine a future without her. So last year, I proposed. Nothing extravagant, just a quiet dinner at home, with the two of us. Tessa cried, hugged me, and said yes. That night, we talked about our wedding plans, an intimate ceremony by the lake, a few close friends, and a simple, beautiful day. It was everything I wanted. Everything we wanted. But that's when the cracks started to show. And I ignored them. At first, it was small things. Wedding planning should be fun, right? But after a while, Tessa's enthusiasm started to fade. At first, she was all in, sending me Pinterest boards, asking about flowers, colors, dresses, bridesmaids. But then, it all slowed down. I would ask about things like, hey, have you picked out your bridesmaids yet? And she'd brush it off. Not yet, I'm still thinking about it. Same with the cake, the music, the dress. Every conversation about the wedding felt like it was being pushed off. And I convinced myself it was just wedding stress. It's a lot to deal with, I told myself. She's busy with work. She'll snap out of it. But the wedding wasn't the only thing that started slipping. Slowly, her attention started shifting. She was on her phone more, laughing at texts, sending cryptic messages, canceling plans. I'm sorry, I've got work tonight, or I promised my mom I'd visit this weekend. I didn't think much of it at first, she's busy, I thought. But the excuses kept stacking up, and I began to feel something changing. I was no longer her priority. Then came the night that changed everything. We were out with friends when someone suggested we play that TikTok game, a truth or dare type of game where you answer personal questions while keeping a straight face. It was fun at first, but things quickly took a turn when someone asked, if you could relive one relationship, which one would it be? Without hesitation, Tessa answered, oh, probably Dylan. Dylan, her ex. The one who cheated on her in college. The room went dead quiet. I could feel my blood run cold, and I couldn't speak. Tessa awkwardly laughed it off, trying to cover her tracks. I mean, not that I'd want to. It's just that he was a significant part of my past. The tension in the room was thick, but I said nothing. I didn't want to cause a scene in front of everyone. But inside, everything was crumbling. Later that night, I confronted her. Why Dylan? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Why would you pick him? She shrugged it off like it was no big deal. It was just a stupid game, Liam. Don't take it so seriously. But I couldn't shake it. Why Dylan? Of all the people she could have mentioned, why him? The one who had hurt her, who had betrayed her trust. It didn't add up. But she didn't want to talk about it, and I didn't want to start a fight over something that was supposed to be a game. But something inside me shifted that night. I couldn't ignore the feeling that something was wrong. I just didn't want to face it yet. I didn't want to believe it. After that night, Tessa's behavior started to change. She was on her phone more, texting and giggling to herself. I'd catch her scrolling through old photos of her and Dylan. She was getting more distant, more secretive. And then, a few weeks later, came the bombshell. It was Friday night, and I came home early from work, hoping for a quiet night together. I'd planned to order takeout and watch a movie. But when I walked in, something felt off. Tessa was sitting on the couch with her laptop, staring blankly at the screen. Hey, I'm home, I said, trying to break the silence. You're early, she said, not even looking up. I tried to brush it off, but the air between us was thick with tension. We didn't talk about our days like we usually did. It was as if everything had changed. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. Is everything okay? She closed her laptop and finally met my gaze. Actually, there's something I need to talk to you about. My stomach dropped. I could feel it. I knew this wasn't going to be good. I've been thinking about us, she began, avoiding my eyes. And about Dylan. Dylan? Again? This was getting out of hand. Dylan? I repeated, almost in disbelief. What about him? She took a deep breath, her eyes finally locking with mine. I think I need some time to figure things out. I want to take a break and see if there's still something there with him. My jaw clenched. Are you serious? You want to take a break to explore things with your ex? It's not like that, she said quickly, her voice shaky. I just need some clarity. I need to know if I'm making the right choice with you. I felt the ground beneath me crumble. I had given her everything. We were engaged. We had a future together. And she wanted a break? To date her ex? I stood there in shock, my mind racing. I didn't know what to say, how to process it. So I simply asked, what does this break mean to you? What are you planning on doing? I just need space, she said, looking down. I need to figure out if I'm making the right decision with you, and if it's not you, I'll come back. That was it. That was the moment everything changed. I couldn't breathe. I just stood there, staring at Tessa, trying to process what she had just said. It felt like the room was spinning. A break? To figure things out with Dylan, of all people? It was like she had ripped the foundation out from under me, and I was left standing in a pile of rubble. I tried to keep my composure, but my voice wavered. So, let me get this straight. You want to take a break and date your ex? Are you seriously asking me to sit here and wait while you figure things out with him? Tessa's eyes widened as if she hadn't expected me to respond this way. Liam, it's not about you doing something wrong. I just need some space. I need to know if I'm making the right choice with you. The audacity. I couldn't believe it. How was this even happening? Not about me? I repeated, my voice rising. You want space to date someone else, and it's not about me? You're asking me to wait around while you test the waters with the guy who cheated on you? That's your space? She stood up and started pacing, as if she was trying to convince herself of her own logic. It's not like that, Liam. I swear, I'm just trying to be sure about everything. I just need time to think. And if I come back to you after, we can figure it out. But I have to know if this is really what I want. I laughed bitterly, the sting of her words still fresh. You know what, Tessa? I'm not your backup plan. I'm not going to sit here like a fool, waiting for you to decide if I'm the right one after you go running back to your ex. This isn't how relationships work. This is insane. Her face tightened, and for the first time, I saw her temper flicker. I'm not asking for permission, Liam. I'm telling you what I need. It hit me then. It wasn't about her needing time. It was about her needing to keep me in the wings while she explored her options. And that was something I couldn't tolerate. You want a break? Fine, I said, my voice suddenly flat, emotionless. Take your break. But don't think for a second I'll be here when you come back. Because I'm not. Tessa's eyes filled with tears as she stepped toward me. Liam, please don't say that. I love you. I cut her off before she could finish. If you loved me, you wouldn't be asking for a break to go test the waters with someone else. This is over, Tessa. You made your choice. I turned away from her, unable to look at the person I thought I knew. I'm done. I spent the rest of the evening in a haze. I couldn't even remember the details. My mind was racing, spinning out of control. I had spent so much time trying to understand what went wrong, trying to keep our relationship intact, that I had missed the obvious. Tessa didn't want me. She wasn't even sure about me. She needed Dylan to be sure about us. It was a gut punch, but in a twisted way, it was also a relief. The weight of all the unanswered questions, the lingering doubts, the feeling of being second choice, it was all gone. I wasn't going to waste any more of my time on someone who didn't know what she wanted. I grabbed my phone and started to make a list of everything I needed to do. First, I was going to sell the house. The house that we had turned into a home? It didn't matter anymore. I didn't need reminders of what we had or thought we had. Second, I needed to talk to my friends. I couldn't do this alone. I needed someone to vent to, someone to keep me from making decisions I'd regret. And third, I needed to get a handle on my future. I didn't know exactly where that would take me, but I was sure of one thing: I was going to move forward, not back. The next day, I sat down with my best friend, Noah, and told him everything. He didn't hold back. Dude, you're better off without her. Trust me. She's playing the I need time game while she figures out if he's good enough? Nah, man. That's not love. That's convenience. Noah didn't sugarcoat anything. He knew me better than anyone, and he saw it all for what it was. Tessa wasn't uncertain. She wasn't confused. She had already made up her mind about Dylan, and I was just a placeholder. Get out of that house, Liam, Noah advised. Start fresh. And don't look back. And just like that, it clicked. I wasn't just moving on from Tessa, I was moving on from the life we had built together. The future I thought was mine wasn't mine at all. I was going to reclaim my life, and the first step was putting the past behind me. I called a realtor the next day. I didn't waste time. I wasn't waiting around for Tessa to decide. I knew what I had to do, and I wasn't going to drag my feet. She thought I was still sitting in our house, waiting for her to make up her mind, but the truth was, I was already planning my next move. The house was sold within the week. More than I thought we'd get, but I didn't care. It was just a house. It wasn't a home anymore. A few days later, I went through the motions of packing up Tessa's things. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even sad. I was just done. I hired movers to take everything to her mother's house. They were instructed to leave it all at the door with a simple note: "Here's your stuff. Good luck with Dylan." I didn't feel like a hero. I didn't feel victorious. I just felt free. I didn't tell Tessa about the house. I didn't tell her about the movers. I didn't tell her anything. And the best part was? I didn't have to. I woke up the next morning feeling like a new person. For the first time in weeks, there was no weight on my chest, no constant cloud of uncertainty hanging over me. I had done something, taken control, made the decision to stop waiting for Tessa to figure out her feelings, and it felt good. Better than I'd imagined. It wasn't just the house, the movers, or the fresh start I was planning. It was the realization that I didn't have to hold my life in limbo anymore. I wasn't someone's fallback plan, and I didn't have to settle for being second. Tessa had wanted time to decide if I was the one for her, but that wasn't my problem anymore. I didn't need her to validate me. I was enough as I was. And I was done with waiting. But of course, Tessa wasn't done with me. Not yet. I didn't expect to hear from her right away, but I figured she'd come back into my life eventually. I had just hoped that maybe she'd take some time to think, maybe enough time for the truth to really sink in. But she couldn't stay away. It started with a message, of course. A simple, almost casual text: "Liam, I think we need to talk." I stared at it for a few moments, not really knowing how to respond. I had so much I wanted to say to her, but I wasn't about to let her drag me back into her mess. I had moved on. I was moving on. But part of me that I didn't want to admit, was curious. What did she want now? Did she think she could just walk back into my life, after everything? I took a deep breath, made a decision, and typed out a simple reply: "We don't need to talk. You've made your choice." I hit send before I could second-guess myself. That was it. I wasn't playing the game anymore. I wasn't waiting around for her to choose me, and I wasn't going to apologize for moving forward. The next few days were a blur of packing, job interviews, and finalizing details for my move to San Francisco. It felt like every part of my life was falling into place, like all the pieces I'd been struggling to fit together for years were suddenly snapping into place. I had officially secured the job at the West Coast office, an opportunity I'd been considering for a while but had never made the leap to pursue until now. But the timing couldn't have been better. The house was sold. I was finally free. The thought of leaving this city behind, leaving her behind, was strangely liberating. I could start fresh, no past, no baggage. The job itself was incredible. I'd already started planning out my life in San Francisco: new apartment, new friends, new everything. It was like I was finally moving towards something that wasn't tied to Tessa. It was all on my terms now. But of course, Tessa didn't let it go. She started to panic when she realized the house was no longer mine, that I was really going through with the move. She tried calling me, texting me, all the usual attempts to pull me back into her orbit. I knew what she was doing. She wanted me to sit around, waiting for her to make up her mind about us. She thought, somewhere deep down, that I was still the Liam who would wait for her. The Liam who would always be there for her, no matter how many times she tested me. And it was working, for a while. At least in her head. But not anymore. I didn't respond to her calls. I didn't answer her texts. I was already gone. I had nothing left to say. One evening, I got a message from a mutual friend. "Hey, did you see what Tessa posted?" I shook my head. I'd been ignoring everything she posted for the past week. But curiosity got the best of me, so I logged into Instagram. And there it was. A photo of her and Dylan, sitting at a cafe. The caption: "Some things are worth revisiting. # second chances." I stared at it for a long time. I could feel the rage bubbling up inside me, but I wasn't surprised. It was exactly what I'd expected. She wasn't really back with Dylan. No, she was trying to rewrite her history, reliving the past because she couldn't deal with the consequences of her actions. This wasn't about love. This was about her not wanting to face the reality of what she had done, choosing him over me. I wasn't angry. I was disgusted. She wasn't looking for clarity. She was looking for validation. And she was trying to get it by playing the victim. But I didn't need to engage with that. I closed my phone and kept packing. The next morning, Tessa's frantic texts started flooding my phone. Liam, please talk to me. I made a mistake. I need you. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I'm scared. I was wrong. I didn't respond. Not right away. She'd already made her bed, and now she had to lie in it. But she wasn't going to get me back with empty apologies and guilt trips. I had moved on. And this was the final test. When I did respond, it was short and simple. It's over, Tessa. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine. The day I left for San Francisco, I felt an overwhelming sense of peace. The house was sold, my bags were packed, and I was finally walking away from a life I had outgrown. The airport was the beginning of a new chapter, a fresh start. And it was all mine. But before I left, I checked my phone one last time. Another message from Tessa. She wanted to meet up before I left. She wanted to talk. I knew what she was hoping for, one last chance to pull me back into her drama. One last shot to make herself feel better about her decision. But I didn't need to meet her. I didn't need closure from someone who had already shown me who she really was. Instead, I hit delete. And I walked away. I've been in San Francisco for a few weeks now, and every day feels like I'm breathing in fresh air for the first time. I'm still in the process of settling in, figuring out where I fit in this city, but the shift in my life, away from Tessa, away from everything I thought I knew, has been like a weight being lifted. I don't miss the chaos, the uncertainty, the constant emotional roller coaster that had been my life for the past few years. Here, I feel like I'm finally starting over. Work is a breeze. I'm thriving in my new role, the energy is different, and the team is eager to innovate. It feels good to be around people who are actually moving forward, who are motivated to create and achieve. It's a stark contrast to the stagnation I'd felt in my relationship with Tessa, the way things had become so stagnant, so predictable. I'm in a city that's full of possibilities, and I'm meeting new people, doing new things. For the first time in years, I'm doing something just for me. But of course, that doesn't mean Tessa has gone quietly into the night. A few days after I arrived, I got a message. It was from a mutual friend. The text was brief, but I could feel the tension in every word. Did you see what Tessa posted? She's trying to pull the same thing she did with Dylan. It's pathetic. I sighed and opened Instagram, already knowing what I'd find. Another cryptic post from Tessa. This time, it was a picture of her sitting in a coffee shop with a caption, "Some paths lead us back to the people who truly matter." Red heart #reconciliation. I wasn't surprised. She had been trying to control the narrative for months, playing the role of the misunderstood soul who was just figuring things out. I didn't care about her Instagram posts anymore, but seeing her still desperately trying to rewrite our story, trying to make herself look like the victim, didn't sit well with me. I showed the post to my new roommate, Alex, who laughed. She really thinks people believe this? Just let it go, man. It's not even worth the energy. And for the first time in a long time, I realized Alex was right. I didn't care. I didn't need to care. It wasn't my problem anymore. She had made her bed, and now she had to lie in it. But what stung the most was how she kept trying to force her way back into my life. I received a message from her a few days later. It was long, pleading, a mix of apologies and confusion. Liam, I know I made a mistake. I've been thinking a lot, and I realize now that you're the one I truly want. I've learned a lot through all of this. Please, can we talk? I need to know if there's still a chance for us. I didn't even have to think about it. I had already made up my mind. I deleted the message. And I didn't respond. And that's when it hit me, the clarity I had been searching for was already there. It wasn't about whether or not I'd ever be with Tessa again, it was about who I was becoming without her. I didn't need her in my life to feel whole. I didn't need her to feel validated. And the fact that she still thought I'd want to be with someone who treated me like an option? That only confirmed what I had already realized, I was better off without her. I've been getting my life together here, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't miss some things. There's still that little part of me that mourns the future I thought we'd have. I thought I was going to marry her. I thought we would build something together. But the truth is, I never knew the real Tessa. And now that I've had the chance to step back, I can see that Tessa had her own issues, insecurities, her need for constant validation, her indecisiveness. And she projected that onto me. She thought she could keep me on the back burner while she figured out what she wanted. But she wasn't my person, and I wasn't her person. Not anymore. Then came the day I heard from Dylan. Yes, Dylan, the guy who had originally cheated on Tessa in college, the one she had tried to reconnect with during our engagement. He reached out, of all people. He sent me a message on social media, apologizing for everything that had happened between Tessa and me. Liam, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I never meant for this to happen. Tessa contacted me a few months before you two split, and I wasn't the one who let her back in. I just didn't realize how much you meant to her. The message struck me as both comical and tragic. Dylan, the guy who had been her reason for leaving me, was now trying to act like some kind of martyr. He had the audacity to apologize for her actions. I just stared at the screen, shaking my head. I didn't respond to him either. He wasn't part of my life anymore. And neither was Tessa. But there was one thing I did. I screenshot the message, forwarded it to Sarah, and said, "This is Tessa's new reality. It's her and Dylan now. I'm moving on. And I'm done playing games." Sarah responded immediately, "Good for you, Liam. You've got the right mindset. She doesn't deserve you." And that was it. I was done. The real freedom came when I started to get serious about my future. I had my sights set on my new job, my new life. I found an apartment with a view of the bay, something that felt like a new beginning. I started climbing again, something I hadn't done in years, but something I loved. I even adopted a dog from the shelter. His name is Zeus, and every day he reminds me of the joy of living in the moment, of being present, of moving forward without looking back. Tessa's texts kept coming, but the more she reached out, the less it mattered. She was trying to pull me back into her world of confusion, and I refused. I was no longer the guy who was going to sit by waiting for her to make up her mind. I wasn't going to let her continue to dictate the pace of my life. She could cry all she wanted. She could try to convince me she had changed. But I knew the truth. The real truth. I had learned the hardest lesson I could have learned. Sometimes, the worst things that happen to you turn out to be the best things for you. A month had passed since I landed in San Francisco, and each day I felt more like the man I had been before Tessa, strong, clear-headed, and free. There was a peace in knowing I had taken control of my life. No more second-guessing, no more wondering if I'd made the right decision. I had chosen myself, and the world was already starting to reflect that. I was getting into a routine. Work was invigorating. I was learning more in my first few weeks than I had in the past few years. I had joined a rock climbing club, which I hadn't done since my college days, and was finally getting back to doing the things that made me feel alive. I took Zeus on daily walks around the city, watched the sunset from my new apartment, and just breathed. It felt good. It felt right. But of course, life doesn't give you a smooth ride forever. The past has a way of knocking on your door when you least expect it. It came in the form of an email, "Tessa." I hadn't heard from her in weeks, and I was almost beginning to think she had moved on too. But the truth is, we both knew that wasn't going to happen. Not without her facing the consequences of her actions. I opened the email with a sense of detached curiosity. It was short. Too short, honestly, for all the things she had to say. It read, "Liam, I know I've hurt you. I can't even begin to apologize for everything I've done. I've spent these past few weeks realizing how wrong I was. I was scared, and I didn't know how to handle things. But now I see what I lost. You were always there for me. You were my person. And I regret the way I treated you. I was selfish, and I'm sorry. If you're willing to listen, I'd love to meet and talk. I know I don't deserve it, but I need closure." I stared at the screen for a long moment, unsure of how to respond. Was this what she really thought was going to happen? Was she expecting me to open my arms and accept her apology with open hands? Did she think I'd somehow erase the betrayal, the indecision, the lies? No. This was the final act. The moment I had been waiting for, the moment where she realized that her actions had consequences. I let it sit for a while. I didn't want to make a hasty decision. But in the end, I knew there was no going back. I typed my response slowly, carefully. I didn't want to be cruel, but I didn't want to give her any false hope either. "Tessa, I've read your email. And honestly, I'm not interested in rehashing the past. I've moved on, and I'm at peace with my life now. What we had is over, and I don't need closure from you. I've already found it on my own. I'm sorry, but I'm not the person you need to talk to anymore. You made your choice. I've made mine. I hit send before I could second guess myself. The response came quicker than I expected, but it was exactly what I anticipated: desperate, filled with apologies, explanations, and promises. Please, Liam, I was wrong. I was confused. We can make it work, I swear. You were always the one I wanted. But I wasn't tempted. Not anymore. It was too late for that. I didn't need to fix what had already been broken. I didn't need to wonder what could have been. What I needed was to keep moving forward. I didn't respond. I didn't have to. The next few days were oddly quiet. Tessa had tried a few more times to reach out through text, but I ignored them all. I didn't block her, I didn't need to be petty, but I didn't engage. I couldn't. And for the first time, I didn't feel guilty about it. I had started taking my life back, piece by piece. I had gone from being the guy who had been left, the guy who didn't know his worth, to the guy who was thriving on his own. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't angry. I just felt free. It wasn't until a few weeks later that I realized how much my life had truly changed. I got a call from my old colleague, Sarah. She had some unexpected news. "Hey, Liam, I just wanted to check in and tell you how much things have changed since you left," she said. A lot of clients were hesitant to work with Tessa after everything went down, and her reputation, well, it's taken a hit. "I just wanted you to know that your decision to leave wasn't just the right one for you, it was the right one for everyone who cared about you." Her words hit me in a way I didn't expect. I hadn't realized the ripple effect my departure had caused. But now I could see it. Tessa was still trying to play the victim, trying to paint herself as the misunderstood person who just needed time to grow. But everyone who had been watching knew the truth. I thanked Sarah for the support, but inside, I felt a strange sense of closure. I had done the right thing. Not just for myself, but for the people who truly mattered. A few more weeks went by. The apartment was starting to feel like home, and I had finally unpacked the last box. Work was going great, I was making new friends, and Zeus had become my best companion. Life was, for once, uncomplicated. Then, out of nowhere, I got a message, this time from Tessa's sister. She had reached out a few times before, but this time, her tone was different. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry for how everything went down. I know Tessa really messed up, and you didn't deserve any of it. You were always the best for her. I hope you're doing well and finding peace. You deserve it." It was a strange kind of closure. It was validation, not from Tessa, but from someone who had seen through the chaos. I didn't need Tessa's apology anymore. I had already let go. But hearing it from someone who knew me well, someone who knew how badly I'd been hurt, felt like the final puzzle piece. Now, I look back at everything that happened with a sense of gratitude. As much as it hurt, as much as I doubted myself, it led me here better, stronger, and wiser. If Tessa had never shown her true colors, I might have stayed in that toxic relationship, wondering why it never felt right. But instead, I walked away. I took control of my own life, and it's been nothing short of extraordinary. I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm living. I'm thriving. And I'm excited to see where this new chapter takes me.